Alright guys, we're moving on now. This will be example game number 5. And there's kind of an interesting lesson to be learned from this deck. This game right here. So this was the opening hand, and what I'm trying to show you is that this is not something that you want to keep. Now, you may look at this and decide, oh, it's pretty good. You've got 4 lands and 3 other playable spells. You've got the white for the cloak. You would have an Evolving Wilds to find that if you needed that too. So you have options, and it may look like a great choice at first, but you have to remember that your deck is only running 12 creatures, and without those creatures, you're not going to be doing anything. So sure, it's nice, you've got all these enchants that you can play on turn 2 because you have land, but the problem is that you do not have any creatures to put them on. So you could just keep drawing into enchantments with this kind of hand and be screwed against anything just because of the fact that you have nothing to play. So you would be, drawing cards, playing lands, and your opponent would have plenty of time to get set up. So we are going to mulligan this down to 6, and this is a much better hand. Now, we are on the draw, so it's even less of a problem because we are going to get back to 7 right away. We do have 2 forests, so we are good to go on that. We also have a creature finally in the Slippery Boggle here, and we're going to be able to get him into play on turn 1 and have the potential for turn 2 Thorns. The plating here can be played at a later time. We can either decide to play it for 3 or suspend it whenever we get a chance. So this is a hand that we are more likely to keep, and that was just this is the important thing that I want to be noted about this game specifically, but let's play it out anyways. So opponent is making his play there, Glimmer Post, so it's obviously going to be some kind of post control, I'm assuming. Going to play Slippery Boggle. This deck wants to have that creature out as early as possible to be able to start doing the damages, whenever it can. We're also, like I said, going to be able to put this Armor of Thorns on the Boggle on turn 3. We draw into here an Ancestral Mask, which is great. We can, stretch. Sorry, excuse me. Get that into play on turn 3 if we hit our 3rd land. If not, we have options with the other Boggle, or we have a second Armor of Thorns. So we're going to put that on there and attack for 3. When you're playing, he's got the blue mana down, so it could be blue post, it could be Izzet control, it could be Dimir control off of the post lands, but the important thing is when you're facing control, you want to get that damage in as soon as possible. Now we draw into a Ledgewalker, still did not see our 3rd land here, so that makes our Ancestral Mask here less important. We could put out a second Armor of Thorns onto our Boggle. You have to keep in mind a couple of things here. The first is our opponent is control and is sitting untapped with 6 mana available. So odds are he is going to be able to counterspell whatever we play if he deems it something he doesn't want to see. So we are going to attempt to play this Armor of Thorns onto the Boggle. And we are going to indeed see a counterspell here. He did have a prohibit, so he is going to stop that from happening. But we are going to continue to swing through and do 3 damage there. So now we are going to still not hit our extra land, drawing the Treetop Bracers instead, putting out the Slippery Boggle here and going to suspend the Petrified Plating. We could have dropped the second Ledgewalker here, or I'm sorry, I guess it would be the second creature as the Ledgewalker, but I decided that it was better to get these going as soon as possible, give us the opportunity to get as big a creature as we can as soon as we can. So getting the Boggle into play, it's going to give me that extra 1 damage next turn that I would have had off the Ledgewalker, but it's also a couple turns from now going to be more beneficial because we have the plating coming down. So now, opponent makes his first important play, I guess. He throws out Mystical Teachings, fetching Forbidden Alchemy. Now I thought this was kind of an interesting choice. I have yet to see a second color from him, so at this point in time I'm just assuming that it is going to be blue post. Still, any post deck running blue is going to have available to it Capsize, and assuming he is not running black, I'm guessing that's going to be his only answer, and the only thing he's going to be able to find with the Teachings. I think it would have been a good thing to find. He is a little bit behind to use it for buyback. He needs 6 mana, he's only at 4 at this point in time, but so that tells me that either he's made a wrong play or he already has it in hand. The only thing he's going to be able to bounce is my enchantment spells, actually, and the other option is going to give him is to continually rebounce Glimmer Post, but because he's got no other post lands at this point in time, it's only going to give him 1 life per bounce, or per turn if he decides to go that way. So draw into a second Treetop Bracers here. And now, again, deciding not to play the Ledgewalker because assuming if we can get this Boggle enchanted, then we're going to be sitting across from two creatures. This focuses on the idea that I wanted to be able to split enchantments instead of putting them all on one. I don't think he's going to have an answer if I do decide to put them all on one creature, but I wanted to be able to attack through for more damage on this turn, and hopefully be able to get into the finisher next turn when my plating comes down. You could have played the Ledgewalker. It's really not going to make a difference at this point in time. I would rather kind of keep that in my hand in case that somehow he found a way to clear the board. If there was some kind of answer that he did have to having those creatures. I don't like to just drop all my creatures as soon as I get them. I like to kind of hold them in reserve until a point in time where I may need an extra creature on the field. That way, it's just trying to be a little defensive in my plays going that route. And a little bit faster as well as far as getting the damage in. So end of turn, you see there my opponent uses the Forbidden Alchemy finally, and he puts away, looks like, is it Boilerwork? There's a Cloud Post and a Deep Analysis. So now it's going to be his turn, drops a second Glimmer Post, bringing him up to 9. Now it's looking a little bit better if he does have that Capsize in his hand. The plating is going to go down. I'm also going to have the mana available to play the second Bracers. Now, I could have played Rancor here, and I probably should have. I guess that would have gone for the win. But I was assuming that he had a counterspell. He is untapped for 6 and 5 cards in hand. So I would rather get rid of the Treetop Bracers, have him counterspell that, than the Rancor. And while I won't win this turn, I'm only going to be able to get him down to 1 life, and I'll be able to win next turn. So I felt that it was a little more important to kind of guarantee or try and eat up counterspells. I have this in a position where I'm set to win it. I just need to make sure I manage it properly and not make mistakes. So going to attack through, he does start tapping out, so this does tell me it's Capsize. It wasn't anything he played in response, so it's going to be the Capsize as opposed to anything else, because he did not play the counterspell and he was tapping that during combat. And now, I don't know if this was a misplay, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, but he used the, oh, that's cut off the screen there, but so he used the Capsize and he bounced the Glimmer Post to his hand. But at the same time, he's got this Cloud Post and he plays it. So you bounce the Glimmer Post as a way to gain extra life. It wouldn't have mattered in the end, but he should have, just ignoring the fact that he's going to die this turn anyways. When you bounce Glimmer Post, you want to usually replay it the following turn. So now he's going to be able to, he would have been able to go up to 3 life, but it doesn't matter because he's still sitting across from these 2 Boggles, each of which, oh, why was that so hard to say? Each of which is, God, I'm still messing that up, is going to be able to beat them single-handedly. So he does concede here and pull in the game. So kind of the, we did survive on 2 lands, which is great. But the more important thing I wanted to just kind of point out with this particular example game was the fact that you need to have creatures in hand and be a little bit more aggressive with your mulligans in order to be able to pull that off.